The next section I'd like to start to discuss the strike price. How to choose the strike price and the importance of selecting the right strike price. What the strike price is not. I added this into the course because I have received questions and there has been confusion regarding what the strike price is, how it works, and not as though we don't understand what the strike price is. But it does tend to become a bit confusing once we start looking at the different strategies that are used with options. And it's something that you'll have to get used to, and it is something that is going to be difficult at first, even if it's just looking at the trading platform. The strike price of an option is not the option premium. It is not the price of the stock at that time. The option premium, to review what we were saying, is the amount of money that you are going to pay for the call option or the put option. If you are selling, the option premium is the amount of money you will be bringing in as the trade is placed. The price of the stock could be trading much higher, much lower, at the money, meaning it could be trading right around or at the strike price. What we see on the right-hand side is what a typical quote might look like. And what you'll also notice in the option markets are the bid, ask, sell columns. And they are going to be directly next to what the strike price is. So what you would look to do is say, what is the price of Apple? Where do I think it's going? And let's go to the options market and see what that option is priced at. So you have the expiration date of the underlying asset, December 20th, 2020, the strike price, $402.50 for the call option. Let's look at an example. Today, the current market price of Apple stock is $400. The call option available on the Apple stock with a strike price of $420 and an expiration date of 6 months, Jack thinks to himself, I think that Apple will increase by that much in 6 months. I'm going to buy the call option. Let's think about that for a second. Buying a call option implies to yourself, it implies that you believe that the stock will move higher. The strike price is important because what we need to really understand is what are our expectations. Our expectations are that it's going to move higher, but we really need to calculate by how much. And if you decide to buy a strike price that's further out of the money and further away from where the current market price of the stock is, you are going to pay less money for the option. However, as we know, the stock would need to move considerably higher in order to have that option be worth any value. Now, with 6 months to maturity, he is going to have, and I'm referring to Jack, he is going to have time for Apple to move higher and move either close to his strike or hopefully through his strike. But with the amount of time he's given himself, the stock may not need to move all the way up to $420. Just a move higher could cause his option to move up in value. After 6 months, Apple stock is now priced at $440. Jack is extremely excited. He will exercise and close the position, buy the Apple stock at $420, and sell it at $440. Now, that's one of the ways I have been trying to illustrate how options work based on the math behind them, but I do think it's important to reiterate that at some point in time, if Apple stock was at $440 prior to expiration, he would have been able to sell it in the open market, and it would have allowed him to make more money because he would have had not only intrinsic value, but he would have also had time value. If you'd like to jot those down, I would say intrinsic value and time value are going to be very important as we move on, but they are not really important right now. How is the stock price important for the strike price? What we want to decide prior to getting into the options market or a specific trade is, what is the strategy that we are looking to implement? Are we looking to implement an income strategy, speculation? Are we looking to hedge something in regards to our portfolio positions? Let's look at the table for Apple stock, assuming Apple stock is trading at $390. If we are looking to generate monthly income, you're going to probably look at the price points of Apple's strike prices around the $395 to $400 mark. Simply because the closer you get as far as strike price is concerned to the actual price of the stock on the market, the more expensive it's going to be. Now, let's think about, well, why is that? Well, it's simple if you just basically think to yourself, well, I am buying or selling an option that has value if the underlying stock moves in the direction I need it to. Time and how far it needs to move are really the two most important pieces. How far it needs to move is what the strike price is. As we move further from where the market is trading for Apple, the less expensive the options are going to be, both on the call and the put side. So how do we choose the right strike price? Jack is planning on buying a call option on a stock today. The stock is trading at $180. He's decided between two strike prices. Both have an expiration of 6 months. Strike price of $220 with an option premium of $15, or the strike price of $220 and an option premium is $10. Now, why would one be more expensive than the other? Because at $180, the stock does not need to go as high, only $20 higher, in order for Jack to start to realize some sort of a gain in his position. Having to go $40 higher, it's going to be less expensive just because of the fact that it is more unlikely that that will happen. So as you see, as we move further out on the spectrum from where the market is trading, we're going to start to see how those prices decrease. So how to choose the right strike price? Scenario 1, Jack buys the option with the strike price of $200 by paying a premium of $15. After 6 months, for Jack to make a profit, stock price must increase above the $215 level. We discussed in earlier lessons that we need to bring back that initial premium outlay. Let's say the stock goes to $217. Jack will exercise or close his position and buy the stock back at $200 and sell it at $217, make a net profit of $2 per contract. Jack feels excited. What is important to understand is that the closer you are to where the market is, the easier it is to not only make money, but it's also harder to lose money because of the way that options are structured. They really are going to move the most as they are getting closer to the actual market price of the underlying stock. Let's see what happens in scenario number 2. Jack buys the $220 strike price and pays a premium of $10. For Jack to make a profit, the strike price needs to be $220 he has to add in to that the $10 he spent. So the stock itself needs to be $230. Let's say it goes to $237. Jack will exercise his rights, or he will close the trade out in the beginning, middle, or end of when he purchased it prior to expiration, and he'll have a $7 gain. When you're choosing the strike price, I think it's important to, and this is an opinion, but I think this is also something that if you're taking notes, we should write this down, and we should really make sure that we are dealing with the emotional factor. And also, we need to make sure that we are not looking at a trade that was successful in the past and mimicking it. And what I mean by that is, make sure that you are buying and choosing the strike price that meets your opinion of where the stock is going to be at this point in time in the future. And when I say at this point in time, I mean this year, not 2 years ago, or this quarter, not last quarter. Because even though you may have been in a trade or put a position on at a strike price and it worked out very well for you, that does not necessarily mean that that's going to happen again. But the psychology in our emotional response to certain things is, if it worked in the past, it makes me feel happy and comfortable and safe to do it again. And that is a very quick way to lose. And you're not just going to lose money, but what will end up happening is you'll lose your confidence in your ability to pick the correct strike price. With all that being said, a lot of these strike prices are going to look very attractive if you look at the price point alone. And we also do not want to justify in our mind the strike price that is either well above where the market is trading or well below where the market is trading, depending on whether you're buying a call or put or selling a call or put, the actual price of the option. And that you would be able to make a much larger rate of return based on the initial outlay of premium, assuming the stock, or in these scenarios, we use the H word, hoping the stock moves to that specific strike price. What we want to do is we want to be realistic with where we think the price is going based on our trading plan. And our trading plan should really help us keep the emotional factors that are going to play a huge role, if not the most important role, in this whole process. Selecting the correct strike price is one of the most fundamental and important pieces in deciding on whether or not you are going to have a successful trade or not. You may pick the correct strike price and allow your emotional feelings and your emotional response to make the wrong decision. If you pick the wrong strike price, the same thing may happen. So we really want to make sure that the strike price we are selecting corresponds with what the market is doing today and what we think the market will be doing in the future. I want to thank everybody again. Please stay with me. The next session will begin shortly.